Hey everyone, I'm Mel. I'm going to be taking you through your practice today. We're going to be finding a bit of space in the legs, so a lot of outer hip stuff as well as just really moving into all the different muscles in the legs and just experimenting and flowing throughout. So let's go ahead and get started finding a comfortable seat. So however you'd sit, cross-legged on your knees, legs out wide, doesn't matter. Just find your seat. You can be leaning up against a wall or against the back of your couch. Just try to make this as accessible as possible for you to find a seat and then close your eyes. And we're not here for very long. We're going to start to move soon. So let's just start to transition the mind from what we were doing before this practice. Let's just try to really arrive on our mats. And this can be quite difficult in a home setting. So you almost have to try just a little harder. So potentially finding that intention just to disconnect from your environment just a little. And really start to connect with your mat and that little sacred bubble around it. Just trying to embrace your practice. Embracing this transition. And how we'll move on to this next part is just by holding the breath just for a moment at the end of our inhale. So taking a big inhale now when you're ready, and just clear out this first exhale. And when you're ready to take another inhale, find as much depth as you can. So breathe in through your nose. Pause and just hold your breath for maybe 1 to 2, 5, 6 seconds. And then just let out your exhale. And we'll just do that one more time. Big breath in. Pause with the breath. And then just let it all out when you're ready, through the nose or through the mouth. And just come back into a natural ebb and flow, maybe with a little bit more emphasis on just letting out that exhale. So that good reminder that this breath is this energetic connection, body-mind, and often we can kind of let out a bunch of this tension we might even want to be removing from the practice, the physical practice that is. We can find that space within our breath patterns and techniques. When you come to the end of your next breath, slowly start to blink open your eyes. Give your shoulders a bit of a roll. And from here, stay seated. If you're uncomfortable in the seat you're in, change it. And bring your right hand down beside you. You can use something to place your hand on. If it connects with the ground, fingertips can just touch the earth. And left hand's going to come up towards the ceiling. From here, just bringing your gaze underneath your left armpit. So trying to encourage the chin to come in that direction. Just bring your left hand onto your right ear. Add a little bit of pressure here. Really reach those right fingers. Maybe close your eyes back down. You could bend your right elbow, slide the right hand around the back of you. So your fingertips kind of dangle on the left side of your waist. Take a big breath in. And then drop your chin in towards your chest. Bring both arms down beside the body. From here, reaching up with the gaze again. Bring the right hand up. Bringing your gaze underneath your right shoulder. Let's hold on to the left ear with the right hand. Really spark through those left fingers. Pull the shoulder back. Just add as much pressure as you need, and maybe bending that left arm, sliding it around the back so the fingertips kind of pop out the other side. Take a big breath in. Chin to chest, bring both arms down beside the body. From here, chin just stays down. Bring your arms up and interlace them around the back of your head. Let's encourage the hands to come just above the hairline and then pull the elbows together and down. Apply a bit of pressure onto the back of your head as you sink your shoulders down. Now to stay here for a breath or two. And slowly, keeping your hands on the back of your head, start to lift up your chin, pull your elbows out to the side. Just try to get a big expression across the front of the body, supporting the head. Take a big breath in, look up maybe, and then exhale, just let that go. Let's come on to hands and knees now. Make your way into your 4-point pose. And from here, we're just going to come into our lion's dance. So just basically moving into a position or many positions that you feel good about. So essentially it's just a big circling of the hips and shoulders and thinking of those rotations and those movements. A little bit cringy, I know. And then switching directions. And just finding your way back into stillness. From here, turning your hands around one at a time so that your fingertips point towards your knees. And as you do that, you can just start to make your movements a little smaller, maybe lifting one knee at a time, maybe leaning forwards and back. Just stretching into those forearms, draw the shoulders back or move them a little. Move the neck if you need. Take one more breath. Then one hand out at a time, give it a good shake. You'll probably need it. Little shake. Press into the hands. A round of cat-cow. Inhale, lift the tail. Drop the belly, pull the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tail, press into the hands. Drop the head. Then come back into your neutral spine. Let's tuck the toes, take a big inhale, find downward facing dog. And as you arrive in downward facing dog, really press into your hands. Find as much space as you can. And then feel free to move the hips, move the knees, move the hands, move the elbows, all the things. And we'll just take a few more breaths, moving into our down dog, quintessential yoga pose. And from here, lifting up onto your tippy toes. Let's take the knees out wide, come into child's pose. Knees out, toes together. Little rhyme. Bring the arms forward, drop the head, or bring your hands onto underneath your forehead. Just allow your hips to kind of splay out a little here. Your shoulders relax somewhat. One more breath. And slowly start to come back up onto your hands. Come on to hands and knees once again. From here, I'm going to tuck the left toes into the ground just for a bit of stability. Extend the right leg back. And then we're looking over to the right. We're going to take the right leg all the way out to the side so that the toes reach and touch the ground. And of course, you can slide the foot out rather than keep it hovered. Untuck your left toes and just encourage your heart to move forward here. And if you have a bit of space in your hips, maybe dropping onto your elbows. And some people might even find that reaching forward, dropping the chest feels good too. Take one more breath. And slowly come back up onto your hands. Pressing into your hands, sliding the right foot back or hovering it back, come onto that right knee. Tuck your right toes, extend your left leg back. Looking to the left, take the left leg out to the side. Now you don't need to hover it out, you can just slide it. Ground onto the bottom of that foot. Untuck your right toes, pull your heart forward. You're always welcome to stay here or find depth that works for you and let your head just hang. Let's try to find pressure through the left foot. Good space for your hips, the lift of the sit bones. Final breath. And slowly coming up onto the hands. Sliding or floating that left leg back. Drop the knee. Tuck the toes, take an inhale, press into the hands, downward facing dog, exhale. Take another full breath in and a full breath out. Now start to lift up onto your tippy toes. You can stay on your toes or ground your heels, walk your feet to the top of the mat and take your feet out wide, about the width of your mat, heels slightly inwards of the toes. Hands stay grounded for this one because we're right at the beginning. You might even want to find a forward fold in between now and squat, but see if you can drop your sit bones between your heels. And what will feel probably nice is just keeping the hands down, rolling onto one side and then the other, lifting the toes, finding that space. Hands, like I said, stay down, just moving into the hips a little. And then from here, start to lift your tail. And as you do it, lean into your heels so your toes adjust forward. And then heel toe your feet so that they're about hip distance as you come into a forward fold. Take another full breath in your forward fold. And then when you're ready, starting to bend your knees, let's roll up to standing. So try to find a bit of depth into the spine, bend the knees, really articulate everything you can, give your shoulders a bit of a wiggle, lift your hands, lift your gaze, take a big breath in. Drop your hands in towards your heart, take your feet out wide once again. The width of your mat, heels slightly inward of the toes, drop back down, find Malasana. This time you can use your hands on the ground or keep them at your heart and push your knees out. Just try to open up through the front of your body. Feel free to move from side to side. And this is another great opportunity to use a block under your sit bones. Take another full breath in here. Then let your hands just come down, lean forward for a moment, and then from here lean into the heels as you lift the tail, position the toes forward, simultaneously lifting up, forward fold. On your next breath in, slide your hands up onto your legs, come into a halfway lift, draw the shoulders back. And then exhale, bend the knees, come back into a fold. Finding a halfway lift, take an inhale, and then this time as you exhale, bring your hands to the ground, step back into the top of a push-up. Drop your knees down. Keep your wrists somewhat underneath the shoulders. Inhale, lengthen forward, and then exhale, hug the elbows in, come all the way down to the ground. Once you get here, find a lift into cobra, big breath in. And then exhale, dropping the forehead down, slide the elbows forward. Let's come into our Sphinx pose. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders, the hands are forward. We've got a nice kind of stacked position. If you need to soften, soften through the chest. Take another full breath in. And then drop your forehead back down, slide your hands underneath your shoulders, roll your shoulders back, cobra. Exhale, moving back by all fours or tucking your toes, lifting back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and out. From here, let's float the right leg up towards the ceiling and bend that knee and open up through the right hip. Get a little rotation happening in the ankle as always. Take another full breath in, then with control, start to bring your knee towards your belly. Take as much time as you need, and then step your foot between your hands. Let's drop the back knee. Move back and forth through the hips. As always, we like to be a little bit dynamic for this first one. And when you're ready to find stillness, come up with the arms, take a big breath in. Bring your hands together, drop them behind the back of your head. Hug your elbows and lift your heart. Full inhale. And then exhale, bringing your arms out wide. Frame the front foot and hop your right foot onto the inside of, right hand on the inside of that right foot. Taking your left foot over to the side, push your right knee in towards the right tricep, your right tricep in towards the knee, and see if you can float your left hand up. Look up towards your ceiling or the sky. Take a big breath in. Then as you breathe out, left hand comes down. We're going to rotate the body over towards the left-hand side. Now, as we do that, we're keeping on that back knee and just pulling the heart towards the left. Push into your right foot, encourage the right knee out. And if this feels like enough of a stretch, stay as you are. Or take the left foot back towards the back of the mat, push more into that right knee, lean more into the hips as you pull yourself towards the left-hand side. Take another full breath in. Exhale, walk your hands back to the front of your mat. Sliding that right foot in if it went as far forward as mine. Back knee lifts, take a big breath in. And then from here, we're going to come forward into the right foot, into a Shiva squat. So we send the weight into the right foot, then we're going to bend the left knee, hover it behind the right leg. Bending the knees, bring the hands in towards the heart. See if we can really hold in the outside of that right leg. Take a big breath in. Hands come down, start to straighten your right leg a little. Left foot comes down, find a forward fold. Your next, inhale, halfway lift. Ground your hands, step back into plank pose, knees or toes. Take a breath in to shift a little forward. Lower down, halfway or to the earth. Exhale. Coming into up dog or cobra, your choice. And then downward facing dog on your exhale breath. Take another full breath here, and then float your left leg up towards the ceiling, bend the left knee, open up through that hip. Take another full breath in, then pull the knee in towards the belly, as many steps as you need. Step your foot forward, drop your back knee. Move onto the fingertips and back and forth through that hip. Just moving as much as you need to. And then finding stillness, you can untuck your back toes, lift your hands up, find height, push into your front foot. Bring your hands together, drop them behind the back of your head. Lift your heart, take a big breath in. Exhale, big swan dive, hands come down onto the inside, hopping that left hand onto the inside of the left foot. Push the knee and the tricep together, take the right foot out to the side, start to float the right arm up. You can look up if it feels good for your gaze. Take a big breath in, hand comes down. So walk your hands over towards the right. Now, similar to before, you can just leave your legs as they are. If this is giving you a stretch, just stay up. If you want to though, taking your right foot back, maybe hovering that knee back, dropping more into this. As you pull your heart towards the right, pushing into that left foot. And take another full breath in here. And then breath out, come back to center. Let's frame that front foot. Float the back knee up, getting ready to move into that Shiva squat. So as we come forward, we hover the knees behind one another, hands come to heart. Heart can lift slightly or you can stay down, up to you. Take another full breath in. Hands, right foot, everything comes into that fold. Move into a halfway lift as you breathe in. Heel toe your feet out wide onto the width of your mat. Drop your sit bones, come into Malasana. Push the knees out, hands can come together. Take a big breath in and out. Stay here. Maybe lift your hands up towards the ceiling for a full breath in. And then bring your hands down to the ground. Lean into your heels. Adjust the toes inwards. Halfway lifting. Inhale. Ground your hands. Step back. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Move and wiggle as much as you need to. And taking your feet out wide, bring them onto the width of the mat. And this will feel weird from down dog, like we're doing Malasana. And then walk your hands back towards your feet this time, toes slightly outward. Now don't drop your sit bones all the way between your heels, just bring your thigh bones so they're parallel with the ground. Hands then come to heart. From here, if that's feeling okay and you're comfortable, reach your arms forward, drop your heart, sink a little deeper. Take another full breath in. Exhale, hands come down, lean into the heels, position the toes forward, then walk the feet forward, come back into downward facing dog. Take another full breath. Inhale, roll your spine forward. Let's come into a plank pose, knees or toes. And as you exhale, lower all the way to the ground. This time, hug your elbows in. Once you get there, untuck your toes, slide your elbows forward, come into Sphinx. Take a full breath in. As you breathe out, soften your forehead a little closer to the ground. Slide your right hand back so it's beside the rib cage. Lean into that right hand. Lift up your right foot. Take the right foot all the way over to the left. Float your right arm up. Take another big breath in. And then as you breathe out, bring your right hand down. And as you bring it down beside the rib cage, pull the right knee as far forward as you can so that it comes and almost touches that right wrist. From here, bring the right elbow back down. Just come into a little half frog. So the right knee is out, pulling your heart forward. Take another full breath. And slowly start to soften here so you can slide your right hand back, bring your right leg back, then drop onto your right elbow, bring the left hand back beside the ribcage, lean into your right elbow, lift the left leg up. You're still on your right elbow, take the left foot back. You can keep the left hand grounded or float it up. Take a big breath in, and then left hand comes back to where it just was, and as you do that, you're going to pull that knee as far forward as you can get it. So coming into a little half frog here. Slide back on to your left elbow and just take a breath. Probably more like 2. And slowly bring that left hand back, press into it so you can adjust that left leg back, and then bringing your forehead down, hands underneath your shoulders. Roll your shoulders back, cobra, breath in. Downward facing dog, press it all the way back, and breath out. Inhale, float your right leg up towards the ceiling, bend your right knee, open up through that hip. Then slow and steady, pull the knee forward, step the foot between the hands. Keep your back knee lifted, float up, find crescent lunge. If you want to bring your hands to your hips or drop your back knee, go ahead. Take a full breath in, lift out of the hips a little, and then maybe get a little deeper on your exhale. Take another full breath in, lift the hips, this time drop and rotate, find warrior 2. Now feel free to adjust, hands on hips, play with that front leg, pushing the right knee out, reach towards the front and back of your mat. We're going to take an inhale, straighten through the front leg, lift both hands up, breath back into it on the exhale. When we do that again, we'll inhale, float up, pull those right toes inwards towards the left toes, hands come up, and then start to find our little fold forward here. Let the hands kind of come down, head can relax. Use your blocks or bring your feet a little closer together if you're feeling like you don't want your head to touch the ground so much. Take another full breath in and out. Now start to walk your hands towards me, so towards the left-hand side. Come into a bit of a halfway lift. And if you need to grab something for underneath your hands, go ahead. Remember, toes are slightly inwards of the heels here. And you can just stay here, pull your shoulders back, really lengthen. Or you could start to walk your hands even further away so that as you start to get deeper into this, your head might want to hang. Take another full breath. And slow and steady, start to walk your hands back. Find them back so that they're underneath your shoulders, and then we're going to come all the way up to standing again. So just finding that roll, that squeezing in of everything as you come up. If your shoulders are nice big rolled, reach your hands up. Take another inhale. And then exhale, readjust your front foot. Let's come into our warrior 2. We're going to sweep this left arm forward now. Roll into the ball of your back foot. Find crescent lunge. Take a full inhale here. And then drop your hands in towards your heart on your exhale. Lean forward onto your front leg. Come into that Shiva squat we did. So hover the left knee behind the right. From here, we're going to open up into a half moon. So from here, if you want to grab something underneath your right hand, go ahead. But start to straighten your right arm. Bring your right hand down towards the ground, potentially touching. Left leg comes up. You can bring your left hand onto that left hip just to encourage a bit of rotation, or extend your left hand towards the ceiling. Find something nice to look at, something small. Take another full breath in. And then as you breathe out, just letting that left hip drop a little bit. Bring your left hand down. Drop it so that it's closer to your right foot. Start to drop the left hip completely down so that you drop into a lunge. And then walk your hands back onto the inside of your right foot. Drop your back knee. Come into low lizard. Now low lizard, just holding for a breath. And tucking those back toes, float the back knee up. From here, find the gaze forward. Inhale, step the left foot forward. Let's come into Malasana, drop the hips. Now hands can stay grounded at the heart or they can reach up. Take a full inhale. Exhale, drop the hands. From here, feel free to move back into a downward facing dog or lift the tail, bring the knees onto the backs of the triceps, looking forward a little crow. Maybe jump it back. Up dog or cobra, downward facing dog when you're ready. Take a couple of breaths here. And then left leg lifts up, bend the knee, open up through that hip, finding that good flex. And from here, pulling the knee in, As many steps as you need, bring the foot forward, coming up into crescent lunge. So finding the height that you need, take the space, take the movement, hands at hips. Take an inhale to lift a little higher. Exhale, potentially get a little deeper. Now the inhale, find height, rotate around, let's find warrior two. So adjusting here, moving the shoulders, getting comfortable. Start to straighten both legs, reach up, inhale. Exhale back into it. This time we're going to do it inhale, but adjusting through that front foot. Turn towards the right hand side, toes slightly inwards of the heels, and then finding that wide leg forward fold from here. Let your body just hang. It can move around too, and once again, you could take your feet wider, but you could bring them in more for more stability and so that your head doesn't touch the ground if you know that that's where it tends to go. Feel free to, like I mentioned, move around. And then come into a halfway lift, so lengthening, and then walking your hands when you're ready, if you want to, as far away from you as you can so you can sink down a little deeper. Let's just take a couple more breaths here. And slowly start to bring your hands back in. Take your time to roll up, so really scoop up through the pelvic floor. Give yourself a bit of a roll once you come up, lift your hands, and adjust yourself into warrior two when you're ready. Ready to sweep into crescent lunge, right hand comes forward, roll onto the ball of your back foot, hands come up, and then drop your hands in towards your heart, drop your chest, a little Shiva squat. So lean into the left foot, hover the right knee. Now just take the depth that you need and then start to transition left hand down onto something, or lining up the thumb and the pinky toe tends to help. Right hand comes back, opening up through the chest, push with that right foot, open the right arm. Find the space that you need. You want to spend longer, go ahead. Take another full breath in. And then as you breathe out, start to square your hips, so you're dropping the right hand, you're dropping the right hip. You're starting to bend into that front leg, and then slowly stepping the right foot back into a low lizard. So you heel toe the left foot out. Keep the back knee lifted or drop it, just find your variation. Take one more full breath here. And tucking the back toes, float the back knee, coming into Malasana. So stepping the right foot forward, dropping into that squat, leave the sit bones down, hands can move to heart, or they can come up. Take another full breath in, and then settle in here. Bring the elbows in, like pushing the knees away, find the space. Closing your eyes. And just take one more full breath. And then letting your hands come down towards the ground. If you're comfortable dropping back from this, we're going to drop back, but you're always welcome to come up and then just find your seat. But dropping your sit bones back, let's come into boat pose. Let's lift the legs, hold on to the backs of the knees. Now from this position, you might just want to hold on to the backs of the knees or come straight into that lift. You can lengthen your legs, you can take whatever option feels best. Toes could also be grounded. From here though, what we're going to try to do is interlace the peace fingers around the big toes and encouraging that height here. Now if you want to, you can push your heels up, find a little bit more height, and then maybe start to open up the legs. So just coming into that wide-legged position, you'll notice I roll forward just a little so I can find a little flat spot kind of to hold here. It's a little balancing point. Draw the shoulders back. Take another full breath in. And then as you breathe out, bend your knees. See if you can drop your feet down onto the outsides of your mat. Ground onto the bottoms of the feet. Keep the knees lifted. Reach your arms forward. Just drop your head. Maybe you can reach your arms and grab hold of your feet. Take just a couple more breaths here. The options are that you could turn this into a wide leg forward fold. If you wanted to, you could maybe come into more of a tortoise pose. If you feel like you've got a lot of space, maybe think about threading your arms underneath your legs. Your hands come onto the outsides of your feet, and then you'll start to push the legs down a little. Drop the elbows. You don't need to come that deep. Or our forward fold. I'm just holding here for a few more breaths. And last full breath. And slowly start to come back up. Let's help those legs in, bring the heels in, knees pointing up. And from here, we're just going to come down onto our backs. As we come onto our backs, just going to hug the knees in towards the belly and just move from side to side, encouraging as much movement as we can here. And when you're ready, coming into a happy baby pose, so holding the insides of your feet, then your knees come out wide, and you might want to continue a little bit of movement, rolling onto the shoulders. And take another full breath in. And then pull your knees back in towards your belly. Feel free to move a little more. And then when you're ready, just relaxing your legs long. Let's make our way into Shavasana. So that could be still with the knees hugged in. You might wish to come back up into your seat or just lengthen your body. Then close your eyes. And we don't need to overcomplicate this. We can, just take a few breaths and really work into that grounded feeling, or we could try to find a little bit more depth to the pose as well. Regardless of the options we're choosing, we just want to hold here for as long as we can. And given the situation you might be in, that might be about 10 seconds. You might find you can hold here and really hone into the environment, the senses, the connections you have with some of the details around you. And just come into your own experience, really. From here, I'll let you stay for as long as you need, of course, but I will be signing off. Thank you for joining me for this practice. Namaste.